kick off the recording, but sweet. So quick reminder, today is all things marketing, which for some of my lead vault folks, some of those type of questions might come in today as well. But we're basically covering all things marketing other than SEO related focus. So we're not going to be talking about how to properly blog or how to do keyword research or any of that kind of stuff. That's tomorrow with Roger. I will tell you, if you guys are in our foundations package, being on the call with Roger tomorrow is going to be pretty important. He's going to be, if you remember on Monday, he talked about we've got some new things in the works. We've got some new tools at the agency level that we've been working through, and we've got some new structures in place for our accelerator and dominator package. And with that has come a whole new kind of snapshot, I guess we'll call it, into all the finite details in the foundation package that you guys, or Content Pro Lite if you're part of one of our legacy packages, that you guys need to be focusing on. He's going to be getting kind of deep into the weeds tomorrow on that, okay? For everybody else that wants, it's mainly going to be those that are on Lead Vault already. Keith, I know you're interested in getting on it, probably mid next week. At the latest, you'll be getting some information and be able to book a live demo call. We'll be ready to go with that. And then anybody else that was also considering it, starting to get on. And then Thursdays would be your kind of your support days through that, okay? Before we dive into anything, anybody got any questions on format or anything like that? We all good? Sweet. And it must be a really damn good day because we've got Mr. Elizabeth twice in a row, 2 days straight.
Jake, I'm already busting his balls 2 days in a row. That's unbelievable, man. I don't even know what's going on.
Have me the whole week.
Jordan, I don't know what you're paying him to be here, but thank you.
I'm paying him in tomahawk steaks once a month.
That's it. Enough.
All right. So in the space of marketing, or in the topic of all things marketing, I want to kind of just do not necessarily a full round robin. I'm just going to ask some questions and just give me a thumbs up, raise your hand, something like that, if you're doing that type of marketing currently in your business. Okay. And I know a couple of you guys don't have cameras on, so maybe you know where the little virtual thumbs up button is. You can hit that. But I'm curious, how many of you guys are doing some of the more traditional, I'll call it traditional, we'll also throw it out there as like more old school style marketing, where we're just pulling lists and mailing them letters? Okay, we got JP, my old school boy, with me, kind of tried and true, hit them in the mailbox kind of thing, right? How many of you guys are pulling some lists, maybe getting them skip traced and doing some form of cold outreach, cold calling them, cold texting them, something like that? Okay, got a few of you guys doing that. Terry, I'm going to give you an easy softball to hit here. Go ahead and raise your hand. How many of you are doing zero marketing? Perfect. Got a couple hands on the zero marketing. We're going to come back to that here in a second. Is anybody doing any form of email marketing? Whether that be cold email, whether that be nurture level email, something like that. JP, you're doing a little bit? Okay. I see the brothers over there doing this. Okay. Let's see. What are some other common ones that I've heard of? Anybody doing anything other than what I've said? That's kind of the most common ones in this space. Charles, what else are you doing?
Door knock.
Okay. Still doing some door knock, even in the COVID world. Anything else?
Babysit houses.
You say babysit houses?
Mm-hmm.
You're babysitting for houses?
I wait till someone comes out and I catch them outside.
Oh, so you Like straight up.
Catch me outside, bro.
That's it. That's what I do.
Is that a new term for stalking? We can just call it babysitting.
I was going to call it sting operation, like just waiting for the target to walk out the door, huh?
It's the tactical route.
There we go. JP, what else are you doing?
Two, we do network marketing through like Facebook groups and just other networking events. That's one of the big ones.
That's actually a
As
good
well
one. Is
as-
anybody else doing that? Doing any kind of being active in Facebook groups, chiming people, talking to them, that kind of stuff? Okay. Got a few on those.
And then we also have a very MLS marketing campaign, just an MLS offering system.
Okay. How many of you, easy question here. How many of you guys are making it a pretty staple standard? Meaning it's almost like the thing to do in your form of marketing or in your messaging. At some point, you're telling them to go to your website. You're telling them to go online to your stuff. Got a couple of head shakes, couple hands. I would write that down. If you're not currently doing that, SEO is great. Organic search is awesome, right? We all want I don't know where this person came from. They just happened to call me or get to me or fill out a form. We all want those type of people. They don't happen all the time, right? Other things that we do help to stir up the interest, but it should become a very staple part of your process to tell them to go to the website. Where on the website depends on where it's at in the process and what they're doing or what you're trying to do. It might be a location page. It might be the home page. It might be the About Us page. It might be a blog. I know Jordan and Jacob, you guys are doing a lot on the rental side. It might be that property, right? Page for it, something like that. It might be a specific page. Some of you guys, I know Kim, Gene, you guys are doing, you got distressed landlords. You got a landlord page. That might be the one that it's going to, right? Is there one other one that about it for now, as far as styles, okay? So with that, I want to kind of open up the floor here, and I want to better understand when it comes to marketing, not the technical crap. When it just comes to marketing the business, where is some of the struggles that you guys have right now? I'm just going to open up the floor. I'm not going to call on anybody unless I get no answers. Then I'll start picking.
I guess with this market being so hot, people think their house is worth $1 million, no matter what they got. So I always tell them, where'd you get your source? And since Zillow works for our favor, I was like, look, there's a good site called Zillow. Have you tried that? Do you see that Zestimate? That's where I would start, where your property's worth. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, but down the block, they just sold it for like $700,000. And I'll be like, yeah, but what was inside that house? What was the difference in square footage? So I start using the comparison analysis. And then they still say, okay, you know what? Yeah, my house needs work. I'll take 600 or 650, and it's like, I can't pay more than 380.
Okay. What else?
I think it goes back to what we said yesterday too. I'm frustrated with the messaging. I really want to dial in on a good, solid message that gets people to not think that it's a scam or something not trustworthy, especially as a text. I think text message is awesome, but I want them to I want them to understand it's legit. So I want the message good.
Yeah, the right verbiage on that message.
Eric first, then Bob.
Yep, go ahead. Yeah, looking for the right verbiage on that SMS that goes out, that it's not a quick, what's this? F off, stop.
Okay. Bob.
Yeah, content. That all three of us hit it right on the head, because if you don't have the right content, you take it out of context, and once it's out of context, it's just a delete. They don't even give a shit.
Got it.
I was going to jump in too. I've been revisiting the WebBuzz podcasts, and podcast number 2 is about identifying your avatar. And so we're still kind of new in the game, but one of the things I thought about is how can I market to an avatar I haven't identified yet? And it's sort of like I compare it to my education. My background is education and teaching English. And like when you write an essay, how can you write about a point you haven't proven yet? You first have to identify your focus, your target focus of what you're going to be talking about. So until you have a planning sheet with a point that you've proven, you can't elaborate on that. And so this Saturday, we're going to be working on our messaging, and I'm going to use the avatar worksheet as a planning sheet for all of the different avatars we're going to be doing to hone in on that verbiage, because I can see why you would just be, just spinning your wheels marketing to somebody that you haven't even targeted yet. So, it's kind of like you putting one in front of the horse. And it's interesting because we're going to do partial wraps on our vehicles, nothing crazy, but like we don't want to put "we buy houses" on the vehicle. And I was just talking to a new teacher who's just started. His whole background is he basically was a marketing guy for a bicycle company, whatever, multiple ones. But we were talking about messaging, and we just started doing a quick brainstorm. And he's like, life happens, we'll buy the house. Something that basically conveys respect and privacy and can kind of share some of that branding. And man, I fully understand the importance of the hours that you need to put in up front, brainstorming and honing in on those keywords that you're going to use for your branding. Every successful company does that, and it's interesting to see how many people start businesses and they're just doing business, but to elevate to that level, and we're just brand new, but I can totally see why you're not going to go very far if you're trying to market to a client that you haven't identified yet.
100%. And I just saw, I think Eric, you threw it in the comment. What is the worksheet? He's talking about the customer avatar worksheet, which I can't drop in here. It's a PDF. I'm going to post it in.
Keith, can you just repeat that what you said? Life happens. What was it?
Yeah. So this is literally, we haven't fleshed it out. It was literally on a whiteboard, but it was life happens, ... we'll buy the house. And he was talking about, he's like, a lot of times when new business owners get someone's attention, they want to regurgitate everything. And we talk about, I'm learning, all this is so fascinating to me, but he's like, create some mystery, call us, text us at, call us at, visit our website, whatever, to learn more. But hook them. And what I loved about
open-ended questions.
Yeah, open-ended
Open-ended
questions.
and you want to get them just enough,
Just enough
to want them to come back for more.
Yeah. What I love about life happens is it's not negative or positive, right? Because it could be a 55-year-old, 60-year-old person who's just inherited a home and is just, man, I don't know what to do with. So unexpected things happen, but it also, to me, conveys, like if you're not explicitly saying something, there's an implied understanding, and that's a relationship piece. Life happens, we'll buy the house. Like hidden message, we understand you might be in a situation, we'll buy the house. To me, it shares privacy, which like indicates respect. And that was, I think, in podcast number 2, Shawn mentioned about just what do customers look for, and they want to feel respected. And I was like, man, somebody in a vulnerable situation, if they felt respected, that would go a long way.
Kind of goes back to what I was saying yesterday, with what makes you unique, right? Kind of goes back to that element. Eric, I saw you asked what was the sheet. For those of you that don't have the customer avatar worksheet, I just posted it in the Facebook group, the PDF, so you can go and get it over there. I tagged a couple of you guys that I knew were asking for it in there. Before I go too deep into some of this stuff, because I love what you just brought up, Keith, and I want to talk to that here in a minute. Anybody else have anything that they're struggling with from this side of it? Sounds like the general consensus is messaging. Anything else that anybody's struggling with? Who's not struggling with their messaging? Okay. JP, you're not struggling? Why do you
I
feel
don't
like
feel
you're
like
not?
I don't feel like we're struggling. I feel like we're very clear on our mission. I feel like we're very clear on our core values. I feel like we're very clear on, when we get on the phone with sellers, the value that we bring and how to communicate that to them. I think that our website and our social media all has the same message across all of it and conveys a lot of our philosophy and everything. So I feel like we don't really struggle with our message at all at this point. I mean, it took us a long time to get to this point. I did struggle for a while. A lot of the stuff that people are bringing up is all the same stuff that we went through. But just through reading a couple of books, following a couple of people, like seeing what they're doing to build their business up, to create strong foundations and clear messages, we just implemented and basically replicated what we saw.
Kind of like I challenged you yesterday. I'll challenge you again here for a second. I've said this a lot. For those of you guys that have been around for a while, it's going to be kind of a little bit of a repeat here. I personally believe one of the hardest things to do as a business owner in the world of marketing is to stop for a second and take a step back and really step into the shoe of who it is you're trying to serve and think like them. I'll say that again. To step back and step into the shoe of who we're actually trying to serve and think as if we're them. It's one of the hardest skills as a business owner and as a marketer to ever master. But when we can master that, and when we can stop for a second and sit back and think, just like the person I'm trying to message and market to and help, it becomes really, really easy to speak to them. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. They don't do it with business, right? They don't choose a business because of the business. They choose the business because of the person. There's some form of know, like, and trust factor that gets built. There's something that connects them to that space, right? Our job on the marketing side of that is to speed it up as fast as possible. Speed up that instant, like, there, I connected there. I resonated there. And as marketers, we do that through very, what I call low threshold, or very safe, easy, almost like a no-brainer offer. The scarier the answer for our prospect to say yes to, the less likely you're to get that yes. That's why I go to the dating analogy so often. It's really freaky if I randomly walk up to, I'm going to pick on Kim. She's right in my middle of my screen. If I just never met Kim a day in my life and I see her and I walk up to her and I say, hey, Kim, you want to have kids? It's a really scary answer to say yes to, right? She doesn't know me. I might be a serial killer. I might have all kind of mental issues, right? We're talking offspring here. That's scary. But if I walk up to Kim and say, hey, I've got free coffee. Would you like a coffee? And she's a coffee lover. You see how much easier that is to say yes to? Because there's no scare there. I'm not asking her to birth my offspring. In the real estate world, we see this too often. The marketing message is the proposal. We're almost proposing with our marketing message. Hey, I want to give you a cash offer for your house today. The other person's on the other end going, I don't even know if I want to sell yet. Hey, I want to buy your house. We buy houses. I don't even know if I'm ready to sell it. So we got to stop for a second and stand back and go, who it, and that's why I love what Keith just brought up. I got to understand who it is that I'm speaking to, because in the real estate world, 1 minute I could be talking to somebody in foreclosure. The next minute, my marketing could be trying to talk to somebody that's dealing with probate, somebody else that's over here in bankruptcy. This person's over here with 20 properties, whereas this person's got one. Right? Our audience can be all over the place. The more we niche it down and stop trying to be all things to all people with our marketing, meaning stop trying to have such a broad stroke marketing message that it doesn't matter who it's in front of, because that's really, really hard to talk to everybody at the same time. You end up talking to nobody, or you just sound like everybody else. I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and it's a podcast for agencies, and this one SEO agency that I like to listen to their podcast on. And he said what's really helped them explode is he got super granular and started focusing on nonprofit organizations that take in cars for donation. Like, that is his agency. It's super easy to talk to when he knows the only people he's trying to market to is the nonprofit organization that's willing to take in cars for donation. So things like Goodwill, Salvation Army, church nonprofits, other nonprofit organizations out there that might be in this space. And he helps them get more donations of cars. That's a very easy message to craft around, right? Now, if he just said, I work with nonprofits, wow, there's so many different nonprofits out there. There's so many different things that they do. Could he probably do it? Absolutely. But you see how the message gets a little more muddied. So before you guys can really start to dial in what that message needs to say, I'm going to challenge you to go back to who is it that you're actually speaking to. I could probably guess, JP, the reason it's gotten easier for you is you've gotten really specific on who you're trying to work with over the years. Why is everything easy to kind of portray? Why is it simple across the website, social media, and everything that you're putting out? You kind of know who it is that you serve and who you help and what Anchored Homes is all about and who it's designed for, right? Now, as you think through that message, low threshold. What do I mean by low threshold? You almost need to think of the offer almost to the point where it's impossible for somebody to say no to it. Give you the example that he was using on the podcast earlier today. I fell in love with it. He basically goes to these nonprofits and he says, hey, listen, I want to help you gain more vehicle donations. I'm going to handle doing all of the marketing for you. It costs you $0 to have this done. We'll handle coordinating the pickup of the car. We'll handle the coordination of getting that car turned over to the auctions. We'll handle everything with the auction company. And when the car's sold at the auction and all the proceeds come in, auction company takes their stuff, we take our piece, and we'll send you a check. Here's what we've done for 4 other organizations like yours. On average, they're making about $10,000 a week through these car donations. Would you like me to start sending you $10,000 a week? You see how that's a really hard offer to say no to? If I was a nonprofit organization looking for more car donations, you just solved every problem I have. I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to coordinate anything. I don't have to do any of the work. You just send me money every week. It doesn't cost me anything out of my pocket. I don't make near as much as if I did it all, but you see how I have no headache. It's a really hard answer to go, no, Keith, don't send me any money. Not interested. Right? The person that says no to that, you probably don't want to work with them anyway, if you're in that person's shoe, right? Now, can we do that at the real estate level? No, we can't, go that crazy, but could it be? What is some of the pain? Ask yourself right now, what is some of the biggest pain that a home seller goes through in the process? Start all the way at the beginning. Keith, since you brought it up, I'm going to make you unmute and I'm going to put you on the hot seat here for a second. You're sitting in your house. You just got a letter from the bank that they're foreclosing, right? You got 30 days to either pay $100,000 or get the heck out. We're foreclosing. What's going through your mind right now?
So hopefully my dogs don't bark. There's a dog outside. Emotion. This is the very first thing. This is the very first thing I thought of was dealing with the emotional, the sequence of emotions that are happening in that moment. It's sort of like a, not denial, but just shock, sadness, anger, whatever sequence of emotions that would be the very first struggle that I would have, is like, because that would be shocking, to leave your home. It would be emotionally, that's not something that I think would be easy to just digest right away.
So we start asking the question, what's all the pain that they're about to go through? What are my options? How do I do this? I don't even know a real estate agent. The only way I know to get out of this is I got to try to find a way to sell this house in 30 days. Is that even possible to get this thing done in 30 days? What happens to my credit at this point, right? All these things are going to start playing through their head. Now let's go to the other side of it. How many of you guys agree the market's pretty hot right now? Most areas, the market's pretty hot, right? Homes fly, offers go. We are 100% in a seller's market in the majority of the country right now. So the difficulty of selling, if I want to sell, isn't there. But what's all the stuff going through my mind? Charles mentioned it earlier. Well, my neighbor just sold their house for $700,000. I easily can get $700,000. I'm just 2 doors down. So can I play on pain or can I play on emotion with that individual? No. I want to play on the fact that you could get $700,000 for your house. Let me show you how you can get $700,000 on your house. Hey, Mr. Seller, I completely understand that that's what you want. Let's go ahead and take a look at your neighbor's property. Let's go ahead and pull the listing. Let's go ahead and pull those pictures. And would you like me to just take a few seconds here and do a quick report on it and show you exactly why they got what they got in today's market and how you could do the same? Well, their bathrooms are updated, their kitchens are updated, everything's good. The house is move-in ready. They're 3 bedrooms, 5 baths. You're 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. Right? I start pointing out all the things that made their house sell for $700,000 that this house doesn't have, and all of a sudden it starts to become a little easier for this person to swallow that they're not. So how would I attract that type of person when I'm doing cold outreach? It's the same way I like to do it from our agency standpoint. Hey, Charles, I'm big in real estate here in the area. I'm looking to buy another property on this exact street that you happen to live on. I know a number of homes have sold in this area. Would you like me to send you over a quick report on exactly what you could get for your home today and compete with some of those neighbors that have been selling in the $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 range? Is there anything scary about that offer? I'm not asking him to commit to anything. I'm not asking him to sign anything. I'm not asking him to agree. I'm just asking, is he open to me sending him information?
Hey, Shawn, that's where a couple times Marie and I did those Loom videos where we got on and showed them how we comp out a property on Zillow and so it was unintrusive, so to speak, where we could say they could look at it on their own. Okay, we don't know what your house looks like yet necessarily. Does your house look like this? And if it does, okay, we can try and move you up there. If it doesn't, this is why this house sold for this amount, So those are golden, I think.
That's a campaign that I absolutely love to run. I do it like crazy in our agency. If I was 100% back into real estate full time, I would be on this thing day in and day out. And I broke this down before in the past for you guys, but I'll break it down again real quick here because I know some of you guys are new. You're already doing some of the heavy lifting. You're already getting data. You're already looking for an area. You're already pulling information and trying going through whatever. Maybe you send it over to JP and best skip trace or get it skip traced to get contact information on this. Before sending out a text blast or thousands and thousands of letters out to a 2,000 person name list, only to hope that somebody answers you back and then you're going to go do the due diligence. Why not just right up front, start to scrub that down a little bit more and do a little due diligence and find the cream of the crop that you would actually do something with. House is the right size, location is correct, right? Maybe it's a school district. And now we take a 2,000 person list and we figure out, all right, these 500 people of that 2,000 are in this area and I absolutely love, I'll buy anything in that area that I can get my hands on. And for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, just work that area on a cold outreach. And every day you reach out to a few of them with a series of touch points around this. Day one, maybe I shoot them a text message. Hey, my name's Keith with blah, blah, blah properties, whatever the case. I happen to be coming across some different records. I was just curious. Would you love, I just sent some information to another neighbor in your area, happen to see your home. If you're in the market to sell, I can send you some information and give you an exact idea of what your home could go for today. They don't answer that one. Maybe tomorrow you call and leave them a voicemail. They don't answer still, go look them up on social media, hit them on social media. They still don't answer, drop a postcard in the mail to them, go door knock to them, right? Series of touches. We know the first touch is never enough. It takes anywhere from 5 to 7 to 10 touches to get somebody's attention, but I'm putting the time, energy, and effort into an area where I know if I can get any of these in this particular area, it's been worth my time. And when they finally say, yeah, send me over the information, now I'm leading with this, a whole other front to who I am as a business. I'm not talking about, let me give you a cash offer. I'm just telling you, you want to know what your value of your home is today and what it could sell for if you were in the market, put it on the market. I already know they're in a bad situation. I've pulled the data. I kind of know what they're going through. So I know I'm going to stroke the right elements to maybe pique their interest here, right? Goes back to what I said yesterday when it crosses over when we cross into the acquisition process after they say, yeah, sure, send it to me. Now we're back over to the acquisitions piece at this point, kind of a blend of marketing and acquisitions here. But now I sit down, I shoot a quick Loom video. I pull up Zillow. I pull up some of the other comps that are in the area. I tell them and I show it right there on the screen. I do this from a digital standpoint. I'll pull up a company's website, shoot a Loom video, and break down everything that's wrong with it, pull up Google, type in search terms that they should be showing up for, and they don't get, it doesn't show. And now that they see their competition showing up instead. Well, what ends up happening? Out of that, the next offer, right? It's the next less scary threshold. If you want to get on a call and talk a little bit deeper on how you can fix all of this, let's schedule a call. In the real estate space, it would be if you'd like to get on a call and discuss how we could get that kind of money in your pocket today. Schedule a time. Let me know when's a good time to call you. Go to my calendar, book a time. What would be a good time for me to swing by the house and speak one-on-one and bring some other stuff to show you? I've now led with some value. I've led with some knowledge. It goes back to what I said yesterday. Who are you? You built some credibility. Now my message though too is a little more dialed in and not so what I call cheesy marketing, where I'm just blanketing everybody saying, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking to buy a house. You want to sell your home? What was the percentage I threw out yesterday of now buyers? Who remembers? It was on the call yesterday. Sarah, I'm gonna pick on you.
47% thrown out yesterday, but I don't remember what that was for.
Sarah, you were on the call yesterday. What was the percentage of people I said are in that now ready position? Like that would say yes to, yeah, sure, let's sell my house today.
3%.
Hint, the answers are in the chat.
1 to 2%.
1 to 3%. 1 to 3% of people are the ones that are biting on these offers already. They're the ones biting on, and to each his own. In my, I guess I'll say, I know some investors that have lived by that sword. They'll die by that sword too, where it's all volume. They need to send 10,000, 20,000 pieces of mail in a month to do the number of deals that they want, because they're just playing on sheer numbers of hope. I'd rather talk to less people that are more qualified and more likely to do business with me than talk to more people that are less qualified and less likely I'll do anything with. Does that make sense there? Questions? I rambled for a while and hit you guys with a lot, and I know it stirs some questions. So what do we got? Who's really clear on their avatar? I know JP is. I see Liz's hand. Kim, was that a hand or was that I'm stretching my arm from writing?
I feel like I'm clear on my avatar, but I do struggle with the message.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the hot seat now, Larry.
Never mind.
Nope.
I'm going on mute.
Nope. Give us your avatar. Tell us who it is. You said you're clear. This should be really easy.
Okay. My avatar is a business professional or an investor who wants to earn income passively through real estate without necessarily having to be involved in the day-to-day aspects of maintaining that investment.
You guys think that's detailed enough, or could it get detailed more?
I don't think I even understand.
It could go either way.
What do you mean, Bob?
Well, if you want to focus on a professional, what specific type of profession? Do you want somebody that's a super high income? Do you want somebody that's in 100 to 200K range? If you want to just make it broad based, you could focus on athletes. I mean, it all depends on what you're looking for and how you want to do it. I've talked with Lorraine in the past, and I know she deals with notes, and that's something that I want to get into at a later date, because it's literally, she's doing all the work and I don't want anything to do with it. I'll be more than happy to take a check.
I 100% agree. Where else could it go deeper?
ROI. I know I'm not the only person here. How much money do they want to make back on their investment?
That's the one that was in my mind. Lorraine, what's your average? What's an average ROI if somebody works with you? Don't say it varies.
It could be any.
No, it varies. What's your average?
15 to 20%.
Okay. So if somebody's out there, I mean, are there ways of making more than 15 to 20% return?
Yes.
100%. And if I'm talking to somebody that's more in that space that knows there's other ways of doing it and can make themselves 20, 30, 40, 50,000, your 50% returns, is that the right avatar for me?
No.
No, because I'm going to probably fall short of expectations, right?
Yes. Based on what they're expecting. Yes.
Now, I have a more conservative styled investment mind who doesn't truly believe 15 to 20% ROI is possible. Is that my ideal avatar?
Yes. I would say yes. No?
No, because they don't believe that 15 to 20% ROI is possible. Therefore, you're going to be hitting a lot of what right out of the gate?
Oh, well, I guess I took it as if they don't believe, then my message and my content and my marketing would help to enlighten them to that fact.
I will agree with you. Do you see how the message had to change?
Yes.
I'd have to speak to that person completely differently than my ideal avatar, who's somebody who wants to do this passively, is a professional, knows it's that it's 100% possible to get 15 to 20% ROIs without really doing anything. That conversation to that person is completely different than the person that's a business professional, is super conservative with their investments, and 100% believes that 15 to 20% ROIs, you're pulling smoke over me. You're lying to me. You're trying to sell me on something.
It's a scam. Right. Okay.
You spoke to one of those people already.
Yes. I did.
Put you in front of a person who doesn't believe because she's never actually seen an investment do that.
Right.
Right.
And that conversation was a little bit different because that person wanted more information than maybe I would normally convey if this person was my ideal. I wouldn't have to do as much quote unquote convincing or proof of the pudding, if you will.
Correct. So just in her avatar that she spelled out, we were able to dissect that there's 3 totally different messages that would have to be out there to hit all 3 versions of that avatar. There's the message that goes to the avatar that doesn't believe 15 to 20% on average is capable. There's the message of the ideal person, super easy to have that conversation with. It's like you're just hanging out talking to another note investor, right? And then there's this third message of the person that you'd have to convince a 15 to 20% is actually still good when they know they could get more elsewhere. All the same avatar, business professional looking to do something passively, right? It's kind of the gist of what you said your general side of the avatar was. 3, we just broke it down to 3 other people. To Bob's point, business professional, how many could we break that apart into?
Yeah, that was a great point that he brought up because I didn't even necessarily think about industry and how industry affects your mindset and all of those things. So I was just generalizing it to professional, but that can go so many different ways.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thanks, Bob.
The farther you can break this avatar down, the more you're going to be able to spotlight, I'm going to have to talk more on this for this person. I can't just throw out what I typically would say because that's not going to work there. I can't, we'll go back, you guys, I use us a lot because basically every one of my avatars is on this call right now. I can't jump on a call and talk about our services to a brand new real estate investor who just decided last week to get into this game about a $35,000 a year dominator package with $10,000 a month in PPC ads. Right? The brand new person that just got started last week can't have that conversation. Not ready for it. But I can't jump on the call with the real estate investor that's in 5 states doing 27 deals a month, spending about $15,000 a month in digital marketing about our foundation package at $97 a month. They're going to feel underserved. They're going to feel underappreciated, right? They're going to feel like we're not good enough. We can't handle them, right? At the end of the day, they're both real estate investors. They're both trying to do more digital type marketing. They're our avatar, but the messaging is different.
Makes a lot of sense.
I see some head shaking, so I'm thinking it's clicking there.
Hey, Shawn, so just to throw a little psyop on you. So the messaging is different based on your different target audience. So the narrative is the same. So it's the exact same narrative. It's just the messaging is different, and it depends on the tonality and all the other stuff that you talked about. So those are the key technical terms, and for laymen. So that's the easiest way to explain it, and how it changes and interacts with the behavior of the individual in the target audience.
100%.
So piggybacking off of
yesterday, Charles, New Jersey, New York, right? A little more rough, tough, kind of. I could say I can even use language with his audience that somebody like John May, who's not on the call today, but is in Louisville, Kentucky. If I went to Louisville, Kentucky trying to treat them like a bunch of New Jersey New Yorkers, I'm not going to get much business done. Right? I take Charles and I put him down in Keith's area of Florida. Well, Charles is going to end up in the intercoastal dead pretty quick because they don't put up with that kind of stuff down there. It's too, kind of the South a little bit, kind of family oriented. Gonna have to be a little bit different there. So everything from tonality to the type of language to the way that we address it to the way that you move some people, some areas, you can move them. In Florida, it's not the South, but it's the Southern feel in his area of Florida. That family oriented feel. I gotta say, I know right where he's at in the Florida area. Where Terry's at out in Carlsbad, they think they're Little Hollywood. Can't treat them like Charles would in New York. They think they're royalty out there in Carlsbad. Not quite as bad as Dalmatians out of Delmar, but so yes, everything, we got to think it through the whole entire element. So before we could get too wrapped up in messaging, how to message, this type of stuff, you guys got to get super clear on who you're actually targeting. What do they look like? And that's why I love the avatar worksheet. I posted it. If you guys haven't filled it out, even if you filled it out in the past, go get it. Do it again. Some of the hard questions that are on there is stuff like, what are the, where do they like to get their information? Well, my old area of Youngstown, Ohio, where I still buy rental properties. The majority of the people in Youngstown, where do they get their information? The newspaper. Majority of the people that we would buy from back there are elderly. Old Italians, old Greeks, they get their information from family. They get their information from the TV news. They get their information from the paper getting delivered to my grandmother still gets pissed to this day if her Sunday paper isn't there on time. Well, if my audience is 85 to 89 to 90 years old, transitioning out of a house, going into more assisted style living, 85-year-old landlords own their properties for 40, 50, 60 years. Can't just hit them with, hey, I buy houses. Hey, I buy apartments. Make sense? Yes? Anything else? We've got about 8 minutes. I'm going to close this out. Anything else on this topic? Everybody good with this?
I do have a quick question. So when you're saying that the narrative stays the same, but I guess the meat of the message is different, you don't necessarily find that out until the narrative attracts the avatar. And if the avatar fits into one of the sub avatar categories, you're not going to necessarily know that you need to change that conversation until you've already maybe failed in expressing your message, if that makes sense. So I guess what I'm asking is, should we be tailoring the narrative specifically to the I guess the identified avatar? Should we keep it general and then wait till we attract that person and then execute a different message specific to what they want or what they're looking for?
This is where that crossover of sales and acquisitions come together. Like marketing and then sales and acquisition, that crossover. Because once I start actually having a conversation, I said this yesterday, we've now moved to the engagement phase. And in my opinion, engagement, we're now in the sales and acquisition process. I'm no longer marketing, right? The point of my marketing is to attract. It's like a magnet. It's meant to get attention. get them to take the next step. Next step is to do something, get in touch with me somehow, communicate with me some way, shape, or form. Call me, book a call, hit me up with an email, whatever the case, text me back, answer my letter, not, whatever it might be. That makes sense so far, Lorraine?
Yes. Yes.
So two sides to your kind of comment question here. Just like we sat down and dissected your avatar, you kind of know there's 3 different types of potential like I said, that like sub avatars that they could fall into. They could be a little more old school, super conservative, not believe that this type of returns is even A, legal, or B, possible. There's the person that knows it, it's capable, wants it, it's kind of my ideal person, super easy to deal with. And then there's this other person who knows there's actually even better returns out there, or you can do other things. You can even get a better return if you did it other ways, that I'd have to speak a little bit different to. Which means when I'm putting marketing out, I need to make sure I'm putting messages out that attract all 3 of those types. Or if I don't want a particular subcategory, I don't want to get into the objection handling galore of the person who doesn't believe that this is even legal or possible, then I don't even want to put a message out there that would attract that person.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So since there's, it sounds like, so since there's sub avatars, there's really not a huge differentiation between those 3 people. So if the marketing works and I actually attract them, regardless of what 3 buckets they fall into, then the conversation that I'm having shouldn't vary too much. It should just be me picking up on certain qualifying questions that I should be doing when I'm speaking to them anyway. And then I should be able, as the professional, to quickly identify and then act accordingly. Okay.
Correct.
That makes sense. And the way you explained it in terms of it working differently, this is just the marketing. We're working on just attracting them initially. Everything else after that is the sales. Okay.
100%.
And sometimes I can conjoin those 2, but it is important to keep them separate because they satisfy 2 different things.
They satisfy 2 different processes, but they 100% support each other, right? And that's the trick, is to understand it. And when I put this out, what's the purpose of me putting this out? Right? I'll use our podcast, for example. We're very, very clear on our podcast. We talk about it all the time, that our focus is real estate professionals, right? We don't talk anything about e-commerce. There's some other ways of doing digital marketing and SEO, and there's a different structure behind it for an e-com type platform. We just don't talk about it because I don't want to attract that avatar. So when we put the messaging out, we're very clear, like, hey, Roger and I actually talk about this a lot. Actually, let's not talk about that, because I don't want to get into too much confusion and other people start coming to us thinking that we can handle them or want to deal with them because of that particular topic. Does that make sense, Lorraine?
Yes, it does. Yep.
So that's marketing, right? Our podcast is all about marketing. It's just, that's a form of digital marketing, is doing a podcast every week and talking about a topic. But we're very aware of what topics do we talk about to make sure that they're attracting the avatar that we actually want to work with.
Yes.
And if I feel like the conversation's not going to attract the right person, we don't want to get into it, not because it's a bad conversation or a conversation we don't feel comfortable having. I just don't want that out there and somebody going, well, you guys talked about it. I thought you guys, you work with people like us.
Got it. I think one other question, not to take over what I have, but I guess maybe this is an offline question, but I'd be curious to know, I guess asking Charles, if now that it's been broken down, if what I was saying or what I was trying to convey is a little bit more understandable now. Because I mean, if someone just hearing this for the first time is confused, then my avatar is going to be confused too.
Yes, I actually understood now where this avatar really meant and where it was going to, because you started saying that you wanted to make investments but do no work. That don't sound like real estate to me. So that's what threw me off.
It's a new
Well, I
breed
didn't
of
say
real estate.
I didn't do any work, but they wouldn't be involved in the day-to-day.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's when I understood when what's his name? Bob said that you do notes. I was like, oh, there you go. That makes sense. But I didn't know what you're
Okay.
talking about. That's why I said I'm clueless.
Okay. Well, that would be perfect, because then maybe you would reach out to me to find out what exactly I'm talking about. Or it could go the other way where you're just like,
Yeah,
okay, never mind. It's too
to
much.
me it goes the other way. I'm not even
Yeah.
interested because I said
Yeah.
that's not real. Because I
Yeah.
do real estate. So I'm like, that's fake.
And the majority will go that way. Why? A confused mind goes somewhere else.
That's helpful.
A curious mind will come to you. Curiosity kills the cat, right? Confused minds, they go somewhere else. I'm confused with that. Never mind. I'll just keep moving over here and doing this thing.
A confused mind always says no.
All right, everybody. Good call today.